morning. You are listening to In Focus. I am your host, Tracy Peltier. We're so glad you are listening today. We have in the studio, live and in person, Hunter Garcia. Thanks for coming in, Hunter.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Thank you, Tracy, for having me, and thank you for those listening right now in the current year of our Lord, 2024. It's good to be here. It's good to be back.
It's so good to be back. So, what I just found out, Hunter actually worked at the station many, many moons ago, shall we say?
Yeah, over a decade ago at this point.
Wow.
I guess for context, I used to be a board operator and not necessarily part-time DJ, but when the boys were getting back from their sporting events, they needed someone to man the radio station, that type of stuff. And I wasn't afraid to say this team was going 7 overtimes deep, that type of stuff. So from there, actually, after that time, that's when I actually enlisted. So this was my last job before being
Let's
in
come
the military.
Full circle. You're back today to share your story and tell our listeners what happened after you left the radio station, because you have had a journey, by the way.
Very much. Before, during, and after.
All the above, right?
All the above.
Yeah.
And a lot of different highlights throughout and a lot of different processing of those highlights.
Sure.
Because if there's one thing that the audience can take away from this, just because you accept something happening in your life doesn't mean you endorse it happening in your life.
Amen to that.
So that's a big aspect to learn and grow.
It is. It is.
Not just mind, body, and spirit, but just overall wholeness. So big long story short, if that's the lesson you take out of this, that's probably the big lesson.
Yeah, but that's a good one.
Oh, for sure.
If we can tell them anything today, that's a good one. They're going to walk away with it, hopefully at least that, if not more.
It has to. It has to stick. And especially because I don't want to say it's people. I don't want to say people like me, that's very egocentric. What I want to say is veterans, people of high brevity that's given a part of themselves for a greater good.
Greater cause, yeah.
It's a piece of the gig that we accept holistically, but we hope that people understand the sacrifice that is being made.
Yeah, and we want to thank you for your sacrifice, by the way, and for your service. We greatly appreciate it. And we're here today actually to talk to Hunter not only about his journey after he left the station, because that was an interesting one to say the least, and how he got to be where he is now. So first, tell people where you are now. You're here today to talk about...
Currently, I'm brought back to St. John's, Michigan to collaborate with the VFW Post 4113. I used to be commander at that post for the past 5 years, kind of a little foreshadowing of the tale.
Sure.
But recently, I stepped down from that position just to take some time off. But one of the things that they kept harping me about to help get interaction with veterans and community going.
Right.
Help rekindle that morale, because as we all know, with the war recently ending in the quote unquote ending with the global war on terrorism in Afghanistan, morale is horrendously low.
It's bad, isn't it?
It's atrocious.
Yeah.
And so one of the events that I'm doing and that we're primary focus now is ComboCon, which is a video game tournament setting. Video games like Street Fighter. Street Fighter 6 specifically, Tekken 8, Guilty Gear Strive, and a whole bunch more. Even a rock, paper, scissors tournament.
No.
Exactly how it is. Best 2 out of 3. It gets hype. There's cash on the line. But it's simple stuff like that brings people together.
Sure.
Competition. That's why we love the Olympics so much.
Right.
So my mindset is let's do an Olympics for fighting games, but all know that when we come together in competition, it's for... it's combos for a cause. That's why, I put it on a lot of my banners. That's basically the slogan of this.
Yeah, that's awesome, Hunter. So you have this event coming up, and it is Combo for a Cause. It's going to be held May 3rd through 5th.
Yep, May 3rd through 5th. We're calling it Cinco de Combo in honor of Cinco de Mayo.
Like it.
We're definitely going to have a great showing in regards to it. It's going to be held in Blockhouse Esports Arena in ALMA, Michigan, right next to the college, my old stomping ground.
All right.
Foreshadowing, too. Graduated from college. It's another thing too, but it's a great area. It was recently fixed up after the pandemic to
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a brand new installation. I think it's where the old Opera House used to be.
Okay, so
back
cool
in the day.
Space.
It's a beautiful space, a beautiful brick interior, very chic and sleek design, and it has everything you need in a venue. including alcohol and a restaurant, but also the equipment needed to deliver a quality tournament. And we're bringing in all the warriors for this because I see this as a great showing out for everybody, considering this event I'm making free to the general public to come and watch.
I was just going to ask. Okay, so to be a watcher, to be a viewer.
If you want to come by to Blockhouse Esports Arena and watch, it's absolutely free. Come by, hang out, have a few drinks, support your local FGC fighting game community. But if you want to participate, then you would have to register online. That's where you would get your start.gg/ComboCon5 type deal.
Okay,
or register on site.
Where are people registering online for more information? Where are they heading?
Yeah, you can either hit us up. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, or X, which is formerly known as Twitter. And our main goal is Facebook event driving.
Okay,
it's
what's
very
your Facebook
grassroots.
Page name? How do I find you?
ComboCon5.
ComboCon5.
And then Cinco de Combo. So if you use any of those phrases in Google or in Facebook or on start.gg, it should take you exactly where you need to go.
Great.
And then from there, it should just take off and be an excellent show. If you want to be there in person, now, if you want to watch it online, we are also streaming the event live.
Great idea. So if you can't get down there in person, but you still want to participate at least at a level of viewing pleasure, you can do that.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
And that's going to be done through my buddy in the FGC, in the Ohio FGC. He crosses state lines to be here. Big shout outs to him because Matchstick Melee, he is going to be the one that's streaming the event live. We get thousands of viewers throughout the 3 days, and more eyes on it, more people can be able to see the cause that we're truly going to fight for. And that's part of, like, I want to say that it's all encompassing the journey that brought me here.
Yeah.
But I'm using a little bit of what my past brought me to help nurture the future that we have in front of us.
Sure. So for those of us listening today, what are you raising money? What are the funds going to actually be used towards?
Yeah, the main goal and cause is going to be going to our VFW District 9 for my goal to use these funds for post-emergency funding if anything were to happen, because as we all know, since we went through the pandemic, a lot of places suffered.
Yes.
And one of the biggest places that suffered was our local VFW halls.
Right.
I believe in the state of Michigan alone, we have lost, at least in our district, 8.
Wow,
8.
really?
Yep, and we're known as the mighty number 9. We still are, but a lot of posts had to merge because of not just dwindling membership, but just a lot of everything shutting down, just halting the progress of everything.
Sure, and it is math. You do need money to support those things.
Oh, for sure.
You do have bills to pay to stay open.
Absolutely, but when you're fighting uphill with a clientele that's also struggling on the home front to get what they need, it's hard for more or less anybody to come together.
Sure.
And that's part of the reason why I'm throwing an event like this, to bridge that gap between the U.S. citizen and the U.S. veteran, to show that there is commonality between competition, but also to show that veterans really do need the resources and benefits that they've earned for sacrificing so much.
Right.
And I don't use myself as an example. I just imagine people that have it worse off than me.
Sure. That
have done that grind and been through the thick of it.
Right.
I'm trying to stop myself from swearing, but it's one of those things.
You're doing good. Thank
you. But it is a tough process that has been worked on, but it needs to be acknowledged.
Yes.
Like I mentioned before, we were talking about this earlier to the interview, but the fact that the government is recognizing so much more stuff nowadays, more, on top of Agent Orange that's already coming out with new symptoms, it seems like once every few months.
Yeah.
We got the burn pits that are happening on in the global war on terrorism that affects not just Iraq and Afghanistan, but all across the world, because global war on terrorism is global.
Yeah, right.
And not many people realize that. And it overcompassing 20 years, that's, I mean, I remember being in 3rd grade getting a book about America at war. And it recently, in 2003, the war in Afghanistan started. So, and I still have that book. And it's just, I don't want to say it's harrowing, but it's crazy to think that when I was a child, I would read about the war that started in front of my eyes, live my life, graduate high school, and still be a part of that very war.
And just like you said, though, it's such a valid point, which is like bringing awareness to a lot of things. A lot of people don't have this awareness. They just don't know.
No.
We don't know what we don't know.
No, I don't want to say it's like a blind ignorance to the information, but no one wants to openly talk about war.
Sure.
Like veterans and just people alike. There's people that
it's a tough topic.
Absolutely.
As it should be.
There's so many moving parts that go into it that, and not even just, I don't want to even say the narratives being driven by it, but the meticulous level.
Right.
One of the things I remembered, like coming up when I got back from the military, when I went to LCC, was being called openly a baby killer on the middle of campus.
Oh, no.
And I was exactly the way you reacted. I looked over my shoulder.
Like,
I was
who
like,
are they talking to?
Yeah, is that me? Are they talking to me? And I'm only wearing my Afghanistan campaign hat because I'm trying to show solidarity to at least what I've attempted to do, and and just to get called that and just have it just being taken away with me, I was like, wow. I'm
so sorry that happened.
I understand.
Awful.
It is. And it just makes me empathize with the Vietnam era even more.
Sure, even more.
Because, like, there's very similar things that both of our eras are currently going through. And there's a lot of things being brought up as a result of it. So, where there was normally competition in the past, because there was such a thing as war era gatekeeping.
Yeah.
It happened with World War II to Vietnam. It happened to Vietnam to Gulf. But now that it's lessened up, because we realize, like, even though we all wore different uniforms, and you may be a jarhead, and you may be a Navy guy, or you may be Space Force, we're all on the same team.
Exactly.
So when one of us suffers, why are we all not up in arms about this?
Well, like you said, I mean, there's so much more that we have in common than we have that separates us.
Absolutely.
And it's a matter of focusing on which part are you looking at, right?
Exactly.
I mean, our fellow man is our fellow man. We're all connected. So to put any division between us is just harming the whole.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is.
When the talking stops, the fighting starts.
That's so true.
And even when I was overseas, like, one of the big things we focused on was open communication with the locals, because I don't want to say I empathize with what's happened, but if given on the flip side, if that was happening here, I wouldn't put it past my uncle to go out and do something to defend his homeland. That type of stuff, especially since what brought us into there was not exactly the expectations we left with.
Exactly.
And we saw that in how we left.
Yeah.
And I empathize heavily with the locals nowadays because, I mean, shoot, I saw the numbers happen before my eyes where the U.S. servicemen death count was going lower. Great. But the local Afghanistan military casualties were getting higher. They were having more of a horse in the race. And so just at the end of all that, more than 20 years of trying to figure something out just to have it all lost in the middle of Bagram really disheartened me, because that's how I went into the country and that's how I left that country. But that's how everybody left the country, and all I just saw was those helicopter pads leaving off in Da Nang over in Vietnam, and seeing all the civilians trying to escape what they knew was going to come. And just having that carry, I know that I'm not the only one dealing with it.
Of course.
But it's a light that we have to shine on, because it is an underlying key of context that a lot of people are missing and don't want to address.
And it's hard to talk about, and it's hard for people to want to look at it, to your point. They don't want to, view it. They don't want to see it. And they also just don't know it. They don't have I mean, you were boots on ground. That's a much different experience than what most people may have. But it's events that you're doing which help so much, not only bring funds where there's needed funds, but also, like I said, I think it's so important, just awareness and opening the conversation. Like, let's just talk about it, right? I mean, just communication is such a key to, like, us understanding each other. So we're just so thankful you're doing this, and we just appreciate your time and your energy and your effort, and everybody who's helping pull this off too. I know there's probably many people behind the scenes that are helping this.
A lot of it's a solo endeavor, but the big thing that happens the day of is the volunteers that do show up. A lot of the people that are helping me are a lot of the connections that I've made throughout the years, FGC wise and otherwise. And it's been something where since this is going to be our 5th event.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Partially why Cinco de Combo has that double meaning.
Okay.
It is our 5th show and is 5 of Combo. It's loose
This is
translation.
not your first rodeo then, so you've had some practice.
We've grown so much exponentially. And like to the point where our first 3 events were held at VFW halls, but because of recent operations, we've grown since, so we can be able to expand that scope. And that's why the cause of this fundraiser is the bigger scope of everything, more than just post level. Because I thankfully, when I left the St. John's VFW and like stepped down as commander, refusing another term, I left them in a better shape than where I came in.
Right. And a lot of VFWs, like you said earlier, were and are continue to struggle.
Right.
Yeah, it's really hard. And so the support that they need right now more than ever probably is really big.
Big picture.
Yeah.
And especially since, like as I was mentioning forward, since the government's recognizing a lot of new stuff happening to veterans, there's going to be a lot of updating to that paperwork for that giant pool of, I don't want to say eligible VFW or Legion members, because that takes the humanity out of it. It's these people that have sacrificed a lot that have now gotten recognition for that sacrifice years later, and they're just waiting for their dues. Yeah. Shout out to my service officer, Barry Walter, for helping me end my 9-year journey for getting to where I need to be.
Sure.
But it's people like that has did the miles. He collaborated with John McCain back in the day.
Wow.
Yeah, if you want the guy to help with and get stuff done, Barry Walter is the man. And he would be miffed if I didn't mention that he's over at the Clinton County Courthouse like once a week, that type of stuff. But he's that type of guy.
Right.
He knows that service doesn't end after your tour is done. It's also on the home front to ensure that what happened to you doesn't happen to anybody else.
Right. And that you have the resources that you need.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you need that support, so you don't feel so isolated. Not meaning just you, just anyone who's served.
Yeah.
It's a very isolating, I can only imagine.
Immensely. Depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress. I mean, George Carlin had a bit about calling cell shock, war fatigue, just like all sorts of different topics to make it realize that PTSD is a real thing amongst these veterans.
It really is.
And I understand, and I guess if I'm just going to get real for a moment, considering like what's happened in the past with a lot of my comrades, depression and anxiety holds a tremendous weight on these shoulders of these service people. And it is something that carries with them after deployment, but this is the instance where we have to extend ourselves out there to say that you're not alone.
Right.
The resources are here to get you out of there.
Right.
We know that you've been forged in the fire, but we need to let you know that you don't have to fight anymore.
Right.
Against yourself.
And you're not alone. It's such a big piece, isn't it?
Sadly but true.
Yeah.
I've lost too many friends to this type of thing where the wounds are not seen.
Right.
And it's a thing where a lot of people just figure it out too late.
Yeah.
And just like, I would have happened to him. He just seemed so happy when I last saw him at the last party.
Right.
And then next week later, this gone.
Right.
And it's devastating to hear, but it shows the beauty of the fragility of life, that you can enjoy the memories and the instances of them being there.
Sure.
And have that live on, even though they're not there physically.
That's such a good point.
Yeah.
Well, and like you said, I mean, the wounds are not seen, and they're also not talked about often.
No.
And so, because if we don't talk about it, we don't shed light on it, right?
It's hard to relate. Like,
it is.
Tracy, let me talk to me about your war experience. Let's start from the jump.
Yeah, let's start from the jump. I got zero, Hunter. I got zero, zilch, none,
and
nothing.
And that's
right?
the commonality.
Right.
That's the majority of this.
Right.
Unfortunately, there's not a lot of veterans that are willing and available to open up. There's veterans that are totally game for it because they've done the processing of it.
Sure.
But there's those that we don't talk to them about the service, that type of stuff.
Right.
And it goes to one of the things I've learned about trauma is it's more than just the event of which it happened. It's the inability to communicate that pain to others. So
that's a huge piece.
It's so one of the biggest ones.
It is. It's so big.
And that's a big thing that I want to try and raise awareness to.
Yes.
With an event like this.
Yeah.
To like really show that these people are here. They matter. Just because they're done with service doesn't mean you throw them away.
Right.
And it's not like it's a new thing. The Romans were messing up with their veterans back in the day when they were doing their empire.
It's been going on for a minute.
Oh, trust me.
Right.
Yeah. The founding of this country was founded on a bunch of disgruntled veterans that also hated the fact they didn't get what they earned.
Yeah.
And God bless America, 1776. But it's not a new thing, but it's something that we have the capability of addressing, considering that we're so far off.
Yes.
And I don't want to make politics of this whole situation, but we have the capabilities.
Yeah.
It's just taking that first step. And if no one's willing to take that step, make room for the person that can.
Get out of the way.
We have to progress somehow.
So the person can move forward.
We can't be hampered.
Right. Let's be better.
We have to be, because if we don't grow, we stagnate. And they say that the idle hands are the devil's playthings.
Right.
It goes that way with your body, your soul, and your mind as well. Once that happens, you just get entrapped, getting closed in within yourself, and
hard to get stuck in the muck, out of the muck.
And it's hard to get out from there.
It is. It's terribly hard.
So just learning the steps prior.
Yes.
Is a huge, huge tool in your repertoire.
Yeah, and as humans, let's support one another. Let's lift each other up. I mean, even though we might not have a full understanding of anyone's experience, because we weren't in that, that doesn't mean we can't have compassion and empathy and support to the best of our ability their need as another human being.
Exactly.
Just as another human being. And that's what Hunter's doing today, guys. You're not going to want to miss this event. It's coming up. And actually, we have another one to talk about before we finish. So we want to make sure we get all the details of this one. This is ComboCon Productions. And it's going to be on May 3rd through the 5th, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Combos for a cause, guys. Help the vets out. This is happening. There's 8 tournaments, cash prizes.
Absolutely.
Which, everybody loves cash.
Oh, absolutely. That's probably one of the big things, too. I am looking for the best players, even not in just Michigan. I was just doing the tallying work. Shout out to Super Eye Patch Wolf. He came out from all the way from Ireland to participate in this tournament. And he brought some of that work in. He's beginning his journey. And we've had people come from Australia. We had people from all over the U.S. and Canada. Yes, I'm working inwards, but it still matters.
That's all right.
It's an international thing, because competition runs deep. And it goes from just I bet I can beat you one-on-one here in the basement since we have the Sega Genesis, and just evolve into, I think I'm the best at Street Fighter 6 or Tekken 8. Come and show me otherwise, because the winner gets a pot bonus at the end of it. So far, everything has $50 as a win bonus for the winners.
All right.
Roughly $500 in win bonuses to the winner. And whoever does the best overall amongst the 8 tournaments will win the ComboCup. The ComboCup.
Dun, 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 dun.
And I'm super excited for that. This is our 2nd year of doing it. Because the way I see it, you can be great at Street Fighter, Tekken, Under Night, but the key is, are you the best overall? Right. So, me being me, I created a stat sheet and some numbers, working it down, and I found out a way to record to figure out how we can do it. So,
and here you are.
And here we are. Year 2 in. Shout out to Z-Fan, who won the first year.
Oh, there you go.
Local Michigan resident. And that's a thing, too.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody out of the woodwork comes by to show off their skills, to show that they're the best. And it's great because different FGCs throughout Michigan have their different cultures, their inputs, their mindsets. Yeah. So when you come, you're literally seeing a diverse array of gameplay where anything can go. And do you think that you're ready for this matchup? Because so many more factors are now in, because we're face-to-face going one-on-one to see if we can win the cash prize.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And it's going to be actually held in ALMA. Yeah. And for people wanting to find out more information, to either be involved or just come and, be a watcher, watch them, how do they find out? Where do they go?
Yep, you can attend live at Blockhouse Esports Arena in Alma, Michigan, right next to the college, right off of the highway, exit 123. And you just head right downtown. It's a perfect little spot, beautiful brick building. You can catch us there live Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Or if you want to register and be a part and take part in the action as an athlete, you can register on start.gg/ComboCon5, the number 5 at the end. And they'll take you to where you need to be, sign up for the tournament so you can be able to have what it takes to win the Combo Cup and some cash prizes and a mystery box for the first place winner as well.
Hunter's throwing it down, guys. He's throwing the challenge down. He's giving a call to you.
I have to. It's an open call and an open challenge, to anybody too. Another thing as well, this can be to anybody. The first time we threw this, we had one of the athletes that we had, it was his first ever tournament. He was 13 years old, came in and took second and this was a good sized regional. We had like 20 players in this bracket, and he took second in his very first regional. And he ended up taking his $13 that he won as a part of the bonus, and he ended up, what I got told by his dad next year, he ended up framing that money.
Aww.
Because he felt so proud and accomplished with his first ever event that he realized on an hour's notice of that day,
Really?
It turns out, man, he was ready, just came in and prepared. Took second place, took that money. I'm framing it. I'm happy. And I'm happy for him, too.
Oh, heck
He's
yeah.
been an alum since. Like, seeing, like, not just us as a place grow, but seeing the athletes, like, progress
I love that.
along with that.
Sure.
Because this is very much a meeting point for a lot of us.
Right.
And just seeing how we've progressed speaks astronomical volumes. Yeah.
And building those relationships and those friendships that are going to last forever too. I mean, that's a beautiful thing. It always is when we can connect to one another.
I feel like once we reinvest into that and showcase stuff like this that gets the people going, morale.
Yeah.
And crowd involvement.
Sure.
It's great. Other things that I'm doing is I'm trying to work with different cemeteries and different volunteers on working on grave conservation.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Shout outs to D2 Biological Solutions. It's the same stuff that they use at Arlington National Cemetery.
Okay.
It works not only to clean, but to conserve the gravestone or headstone.
That's important.
It's very universal, and especially in use, because one of the big factors that destroys a lot of these monuments is the mold and moss that gets caked on them.
Sure.
Yes, we can brush it off, but the fact that it comes back is the big thing. This stuff kills it for at least a year, and it prevents it and brightens it up naturally.
Oh, wow.
So this stuff is amazing. I get it from a supplier in Holland, but one of the things I want to work with people is to teach them how to use that stuff.
Sure.
Because there's grave sites all over the place in Michigan.
Yeah.
If you're in the middle of rural Michigan, you'll be driving down a road and see a random plot of cemetery just in the middle of nowhere.
It's true.
It's stuff like that no one ever thinks of or acknowledges, because whether or not their family moved on or they've just been taken to time, it's stuff like this that not only keeps their memory alive, but also honors their sacrifice of being a part of the bigger picture.
Right. I'm honoring it.
Yeah.
Honoring the sacrifice is such a good point.
Yeah. And so that's why I started with what I do, and with the specific focus of cleaning veterans' graves and graves of innocents, and just helping that, because not just who else would, but it's just
but it
they still matter.
It matters.
Even
They
afterwards.
always will. Yeah, of course. Hunter, I want to thank you so much. One more time, though, give people the information where they can find out more.
Yes. If you want to find out more about ComboCon5, Cinco de Combo, hit up your Facebook page. Cinco de Combo, ComboCon5. You'll find our Facebook event there. If you want to be able to take part in person, feel free to come on by May 3rd, 4th, and 5th. The restaurant opens at 11. Games kick off at noon. We're going to have a whole day thing. We're going to have community events throughout, to help entertain while the tournaments are going on. It's going to be a beautiful showcase. Anybody can come. Open challenge to all. Feel free to hit us up on Facebook, on Twitter, on start/GG for all your information. We hope to see you out there, because I really hope that we can all come together wherever we are to deliver combos for a cause. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Hunter. I appreciate your time and your service so very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It means a lot.
Of course. I am your host, Tracy Peltier. You are listening to In Focus. And until next Sunday, take care of one another.